Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking again about ZOM. So this is an update for as well my last DD on this, as well as a little bit of different things that happen, especially the offering. I'm going to talk about what I expect the price point to be and where it's going to be moving towards. So first of all, we're going to first do the 1 month, 1 day analysis. And then, of course, it's going to obviously show that it's oversold, especially since the offering has hit. Average directional index is not reliable at all, especially since it was hit. So it's going to be more towards pattern, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. The 10 SMA is still above the 30 EMA, which is amazing. The MACD is a little bit without much in terms of reliability. It has low reliability, so you'll have to look into the 1 hour. So going to the 5 days, 1 hour here, we get to see, of course, that the stock has dropped quite a bit because of the offering at a price of 0.16. Going towards a little bit towards the MACD, you can get to see that there's a positive movement that is actually looking at right now. The stock has bounced a little bit more towards neutral, but overall, it's still highly oversold. So I wouldn't really trust the oversold period in there. The average directional index shows a very strong strength going in around, initially hit around 60 and then drop, pull back, which is a good thing for us. Going towards momentum, it looks like it has a good amount of momentum, although it's getting a little bit of a pullback in closer to 4 o'clock. That's due to the power hour being on a long weekend. One thing that I want to show here, everyone, is basically the trend that it has followed before. This was the previous. Let me just move this alert quickly. This was the previous trend, and this was the offering, and it's not the first time they had an offering. You get to see that trend is still similar, where you're going upwards. So they did have a few offerings before, but this company overall is solid in terms of its growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the last two trend lines, and I want to see how good they hold, and then I'm going to basically offset them to the current trend line, the current possible trend line. So this is happening around right here. What we're going to do is we're going to do a price point. Okay. So we can see, let's say, put in around there. We can see almost the next day's definitely, well, would have hit 16 a little bit after, but it definitely jumped quite a bit. So, and you get to see that this price is probably easily going to see at least a 30% increase from what the levels are right now. Now, in terms of supports and resistances, this stock will probably see the resistance at 0.18, and you can get to see it here. And that's a strong resistance, but it will most definitely break it sooner or later. As you can see that there's an uptrend that it has always, even though it got broken twice with an offering, one over here and one over here, it followed almost the exact same chart. So what I'm expecting is, I'm expecting to see this chart again. So let's try to take a quick look into the Fibonacci retracements here, in case it just says basically anything that hasn't been said here. So yeah, 0.18 towards where the resistance is sitting at. The next one would be 0.20, and you get to see it somewhere around here. It's sitting at a good resistance. So I would say it has high chance of hitting 0.118 again. Of course, it was a really good buy around 0.15. But in case you missed that, then definitely I would consider buying it at a current pullback somewhere around 0.16 in aftermarket. Or even 1.17. There's a high chance of it jumping backwards, especially with a company with a solid sheet like this one here, as we've seen before. Nothing new in terms of the company before. So if you want to look into different things where I looked inside the company, different drugs and pipelines, you'll have to look into my previous DDs, especially since I saw them, and this is more of a quick update. What do you think about this stock? Mention it down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching today. Share, subscribe, and like.